In 2 days, I'm flying to Copenhagen to DP a documentary project. And as I'm packing my gear, I thought it would be a good idea to do a little breakdown of my camera rig and how I pack. And so hopefully this video can help you on your next travel job. One more thing before I start talking about the gear, guys. Obviously, as filmmakers, we need gear to be able to create films that we want to create, but gear is not everything. Much more important than gear is how you can use the gear that you own and how you can use your skills that you gained over the years, because if you have the skills, you can create good films even with an iPhone. And so I don't want you to feel like you suddenly need to go and invest into equipment or buy any pieces of the gear that I'm going to be showing you. This is my own kit that I've tested over time and I really enjoy using it. And I know that for every single piece of the kit, I have a very good use. And now finally to the breakdown. So jumping straight into the packing, the case that I'm bringing for this particular project is my sort of a Pelican case, even though this is not a Pelican, it's a different brand that I found in Switzerland when I lived there. And because this is a job which is gonna be happening in Europe and in the city, I've decided to bring a case instead of a backpack. And all of my camera gear will go into this case because I can bring this case into the airplane. And so I know that the gear inside will be safe. So as you can see, this is how my gear is packed in the Pelican case, and everything that is inside here makes the camera rig work. So if by any chance I forget something, or if my luggage gets lost, I know that I can run the camera only with everything that's inside this case. So that's for the case. Now let's talk about the camera body. So this is my main cinema camera that I have been using for a little over 2 years, and this is Kinefinity Mavo LF Mark II. I'm not sure if you've heard about Kinefinity, but if you haven't, I highly recommend you checking them out. They are a great camera brand. And why I love the Mavo is because the camera is very versatile. You know, it has XLRs on top of the camera, it has a V-mount play, you can also power it with the smaller batteries from Canon. You have all the industry standard outputs, plus you are recording into SSD media. So if I take this out, you have these proprietary SSD media. This one is 1 terabyte, and then I have another one which is 2 terabytes. You have interchangeable mounts on the camera, currently EF mount, but you can put an E mount, you can put a PL mount, and all of these mounts screw into the camera, except the EF mount actually. And so they're very solid and your lenses stay safe. Apart from that, beautiful color science. The image has this cinematic quality that sometimes you don't see with other modern cameras these days. And you have a huge variety of frame rates and also resolutions. This camera shoots up to 6K open gate, and you can shoot up to 300 frames per second if you're cropping into the sensor and reducing the resolutions. So that's my main camera body. Next, after camera, are lenses. So for this particular project, I'm only bringing 2 lenses, and that is my Canon FD 20mm f2.8 and Canon FD 50mm f1.4. The reason why I'm only bringing 2 lenses is because we're actually going to be renting lenses in Copenhagen, and we're going to be shooting in the Nissi Athenas. So these are more of a backup lenses in case I want to shoot something else while I'm in Europe, because I'm going to be staying there for a month. If I would be bringing other lenses, then I would organize the space a little differently, but for this particular project, as I said, this is all I need. I'm using a monitor from Kinefinity, and that is the 5-inch Kinemon monitor, which I really like because, first of all, you only connect this monitor with 1 cable. So this is a video and also power transmission cable that goes directly into your camera. And it's a touchscreen monitor. It has all the functions that you need, you know, peaking, false color, anything that you can imagine. You can upload your LUTs directly to the camera, and then it's a 2000 nit bright monitor. So in case you're shooting outside in a bright environment, you get that high output of brightness, which helps you to better see the image. But you have to be careful while exposing, because if your monitor is too bright, then you might actually be underexposing without knowing it. In this little pouch, I also carry the cable for the monitor and a little mount that I put on the top handle to hold the monitor. So another tool I use for monitoring of the image is my Kinefinity viewfinder. I always bring this one because sometimes I just like to see the image in more isolated way, and that's what the viewfinder allows me to do. Or if I'm shooting in a really bright scenario, such as high up in the mountains, the viewfinder is so useful because you're not being blinded by all the reflections on the snow. So a viewfinder together with a little arm that attaches to the side of the camera, and I keep the viewfinder cable inside this pouch, so the whole kit is basically together. Monitoring, I'm not actually putting into this Pelican case because it doesn't fit, but I just carry it in my hand or I put it in my smaller backpack. But I wanted to talk about this because it's something that I've used on a recent project. So this is the monitoring system from Xsoon. I have the CineView Master 4K, which is a transmitter, and then I have a receiver here. And then I also have the 7-inch CineView M7 Pro monitor, which is a monitor, but it is also a receiver. So I can screw on antennas here, and then I can use this as a director's monitor. I don't need to attach external receiver because this monitor is a receiver. Now, the monitor has really nice colors, and I got to use it, as I said, on a previous project. There were some things that I wasn't completely satisfied with because it was the first time using the monitor, and I haven't done really any research before using it. So I really need to sit down, go through the menus, and then kind of provide a proper feedback. But the transmission is very stable and the colors are very accurate. Plus, the monitor is also very bright in case you need that. So overall, I like it. And then I have all the cables that I need. So I have SDI, I have HDMI cable, I have USB-C cable so I can power the monitor through V-mount batteries or through NP-FP batteries. I have a little mount for the transmitter or the receiver, and I have all the antennas here. Together with the Xsoon transmission, I also got this little V-mount adapter from Xsoon, so I can actually put this on my camera and then put the transmitter here and then power it with the V-mount. So that's a really nice little accessory that basically helps me to keep my camera a little more slick. I don't have to put the transmission on the side, but I can just keep it on the back of the camera and that way redistribute the weight in a little more equal way. Before I talk about more gear, guys, I just want you to know that yes, gear is important because we use it to create films, but it's absolutely not everything. Much more important than gear is your skills and how you can use the gear that you own. So if you would want to grow your skills, I have recently launched a sort of a masterclass product called From Prep to Rep, in which I break down one of my documentary shoots that I did last year in the Philippines. It's a film for an NGO that I shot together with The Art of Documentary and So On For Good. And in the masterclass, I go basically from prep to rep. So breaking down everything from the initiation of the project all the way to the rep and a little bit of the post-production. If that sounds like something you might be interested in, check the link in the description of the video so that you can grow your documentary skills even without gear. Now, back to the gear video. Now let's talk about the power. So for this project, I'm bringing 4 V-mount batteries, and obviously all of these batteries have to go into the carry-on. So I have 3 FX Lion batteries, and then I have one more V-mount, which is from KNF Concept. To be absolutely honest, I don't really like this one because it doesn't last so long. It was a cheaper option. And so I usually use this to power the monitor rather than my camera. But basically with these 4 V-mount batteries, I'm able to run my camera for a whole day, especially if I have access to electricity and I can, you know, charge the batteries that are empty while I'm running the ones that are full. Now, together with the V-mount batteries, I also have a battery for my Zhiyun Molus X100. So this is this type of battery handle that you attach to the light. I'm currently using the light to, you know, light my talking head interview. So I usually bring my Sennheiser MKA MKE 600 microphone, which is in this pouch, so a shotgun mic. I have the small or short XLR cable. I have the arm and the holder for the microphone, and that all fits in here. But the MKE 600 is quite big, and so sometimes I also bring my MKE 400, which is much smaller, a little more compact, a little lighter. I can kind of put it on the camera without the microphone pointing out too much, and I can also use this microphone with my iPhone. So if I'm recording YouTube videos on the go or on the road, I can kind of use this microphone for two different scenarios, either documentary filmmaking or for YouTube. So I'm bringing this one as well, and this one actually goes into my little pouch that I have in my backpack because, as I said, sometimes I use it for vlogging. After this comes filters. So I'm using, currently for this project, I'm using the Tilta matte box with the variable ND filter inside, and then I have a bunch of adapter rings here. So adapter rings, I have a Pro Mist in there, and yeah, that's what I'm bringing for this particular project. It's lightweight, it's small, it gets the job done. So that's it for filters. And now let's talk about the stuff that I use to rig my camera. So first of all, you might have noticed that there is already some rigging on top of the camera. So we have the left field 3 base plate from Bright Tangerine, which I absolutely love. I have been using it for over a year. I love that it has a quick release system and it's extremely lightweight. So adding it to the camera doesn't add too much weight. Then we have some side plate. This is from MovCam, and a top plate from MovCam, which is specifically made for Kinefinity. I also have my AirTag here in case someone steals the camera or whatever, so I can monitor where the camera is. And then I have this side plate from Bright Tangerine, which is not made for the Kinefinity camera, but I kind of use it for it because it allows me to have some more attachments here, for example, for a lav mic or other accessories, and it can also serve as sort of a bit of a holder. So in case I'm running super minimal setup with the camera, I could have a second handle here, and then it gives me a bit of a grip. So that's it, Bright Tangerine and MovCam. And then when we look at the rest of the things, I'll just take them out from here. So when we look at the rest of the things, we have 2 drumsticks from Bright Tangerine. So these are 19mm rods. Yeah, as you can see, I use a lot of Bright Tangerine accessories because the products that they make are of extremely high quality, and they also care about the environment. They are part of 1% for the planet, which is very important for me, so that the brands that I work with, especially when it comes to partnerships, have the same value as I do. And they are trying to make a positive impact in the world, same as I do. Now, then we have this 15 or 19mm rod attachment from Bright Tangerine, which is the hand grip bridge. And so I can then attach my grips to this, my hand grips, in this way. So either in this way, and this will obviously go down, or I can attach this extension arm and then I attach the handle to that. So these are rosette kind of mounts, very sturdy, very tight. And yeah, this allows me to have, you know, different options on the grip. If I want to have a little bit longer and more stable grip, I can run these handles. If I want to have something that is a little more compact, I can just run the handles without the extension arm. Apart from this, I also have Bright Tangerine top handle. So this is a NATO rail top handle, and I can just attach it on top of my camera. I've been loving this one. I've had it for about 3 months, and it's very lightweight, but also it just feels solid. It feels like a high quality product, which I absolutely love. Now for this particular project, I'm also bringing a Titan arm from Bright Tangerine, which is the newly released Titan arm, and I'm gonna be using this to attach my monitor to the top handle, so I can switch between handheld and shoulder rig setup, and that way I can offset the monitor to the side and view it in a shoulder rig setup, or I can kind of just turn it up and view it in a in a handheld setup if I'm shooting from the hip or from the chest. Then I also have my E-mount here for my Kinefinity. So this is a screw-on E-mount. So basically I screw off the Kine mount and I screw on the E-mount. I will be using this for the Athena lenses because they will have an E-mount. And then I have a few other small things here like my glove. So I use this when I shoot a lot of handheld. I have headphones in this little pouch so that if I need to monitor audio, I can quickly take them out and monitor it. I have a bit of a tape here, and then I have some lens caps if I'm changing the mounts on the camera. So this is for Sony, this is for the EF mount. And yeah, so basically this is everything that I'm bringing in my Pelican case. I might also put some hard drives there in case they don't fit in my smaller backpack. But when it comes to the camera, this is it. Now I'm gonna build the camera so you do see the final rig. Okay, so let's just build this up quickly. All right, guys, so this would be one camera build, and this is actually the build that I was running 2 weeks ago on productions in Gili. It wasn't a pure documentary shoot, it was more of a brand film, and so I wanted to have a rig that is quite compact, that I can run handheld, and I knew that I'm not going to be using a shoulder rig. So this was more shooting from a cine saddle or on a tripod or handheld. So I've built this kind of a rig. It has the transmission in the back, as you can see with the V-mount, and then top handle, monitor, mat box, small microphone for the scratch audio because we are not doing any interviews. And yeah, this is basically the rig. I was extremely happy with this one because it allows me to log the camera in, you know, have a good balance, have a good weight to it. So one more time, to show you the rig, how it looks. Super compact and super versatile. Now, let me just quickly rebuild this into the setup that I'm going to be using on the shoot in Copenhagen. And so this will be probably the rig that I'm going to be running in Copenhagen. This is a little bigger, but it allows me for more of a shoulder rig setup. So I'm going to have a little shoulder pad on my shoulder probably, or I'm still waiting for the Atman shoulder pad from Bright Tangerine. And then I can easily put my camera over here, adjust this a little bit. And yeah, basically even with this, because the camera is on the rods and the rods are on my shoulder, it's quite comfortable. And then I can adjust this monitor, put it a little further, and yeah, have a shoulder rig setup. Or I can take it off and I can run it handheld, adjust this monitor, which is great on the Titan arm, that even if it's tight, you can still adjust it, but it will stay in position, which other Magic arms don't have this feature, I believe. So this is it for the breakdown, guys. I hope that the video was helpful. It gave you a little bit of insight into what I pack and what you can pack and how you can pack for your travel jobs. Now I'm going to put everything back into the Pelican case and I'm going to get it ready for the flight in 2 days. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'm going to be making a vlog out of the documentary production that's going to be happening, so it's going to be a bit more behind the scenes and of course the insight into the process of being a documentary DP. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace!